Hey guys,
Hi.
It's Lauren from Aspiring Kennedy.
Annie from Aspiring London.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So today we're going to walk around on my Let's Go for a Walk series, and we're going to talk about the travel industry because, I mean, Annie's like the big leagues and I'm like the mom leagues, which is like a less sexy version, but between the two of us we have quite a bit of experience traveling, and we're just going to talk about some of the funny differences and answer some questions that we're going to get from Instagram. So, alright, we're in Kensington Palace, a cool spot in London, and we're going to go for a little walk. Yeah, it's Alright, Annie, how many times have you been to London, just off the top of your head?
Probably like 14 times. 14 or 15. And I look at your guide all the time to tell me where to go. So if you haven't looked at it yet, it's awesome.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
coming from you. So this place used to be like my backyard because we used to live in that street over there.
Yes.
So I used to come over here, and it's actually a really cool spot because you'll see the royals come in and out of helicopters, and you're always like, oh look, there's a fox. Look at this.
Oh my God, there is.
Come look at this fox. It's actually really scary.
Coyotes in Arizona.
Yeah. That is the biggest one I've ever seen.
Holy moly. So foxy.
All right, I'm gonna walk you over here where Prince Harry and Meghan announced their engagement this week. So they walked through this little gate.
So excited about seeing this.
I mean, I am too. I haven't seen it since they did it, so it's so important.
I mean, I have to say, I don't know if you agree, but like Meghan kind of makes Kate look a little boring.
I feel like Kate feels like me right now, like aged with children. I look at her and I'm like, girl, I feel you.
Yes.
I know it. And Meghan's like, actually, she's younger than her though.
Yeah,
I mean, no,
36.
Meghan's older, right?
Yes.
Kate's, yeah, I know.
Like a year.
Okay, so this is where they walk down. This is where Meghan and Harry came. There we go. So they're gonna live.
What is your number one travel tip for kids? Like, do you have something you always bring, or like?
I mean, leave them at home is definitely the number one tip. No, but for my job, I have to bring my kids often, which is such a great thing, and my boss is amazing. My number one tip has to be, oh, for sure, get an apartment everywhere you go.
Yeah, the kitchen.
Like hotels, they're just too hard with families. So yeah, we'll walk through this way. Yeah, get an apartment, because then if you're in a hotel room, you're gonna get locked into your bathroom every night after they go to bed. Me and Tyler spent so many hours of our lives sitting on a bathroom floor waiting for Deliveroo to come in total silence because you're terrified to wake your kids up.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. That sounds really
so
like
bad.
how I want to spend my vacation.
Yeah, but if you get an Airbnb, you can shut the door and then you can go like at least cook a meal or have dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's nice. What's your number one travel tip for someone?
I always like to say go to the same place over and over again, like a favorite coffee shop or something, because you really feel like you're getting into the groove of the place. So when I'm in Paris, like I go to the same place, or you know, like in New York where I live in Brooklyn, I go to the same coffee shops. You're kind of like taking that idea.
You kind of get like a little bit of a mini local experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I like to go back to the same places, and you kind of like the coolest is if they know who you are trip to trip. It's only happened a couple times for me. I'm working on it.
And that's the best.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, like, you have to go see the biggest, like, the highest spot. Like, St. Paul's Cathedral in London has the best view. Go to a gourmet grocery store.
Oh, grocery shops are the best way to see a place. Like, you see all the weirdness of their cultures manifested in what they eat.
Exactly. Like, what is mincemeat, by the way? Do you know what mincemeat is?
I do know. So mincemeat's like the pie filling, but it has no meat in it. So mince pies are like a huge deal here, but they're like fruit.
It's just confusing.
It's super confusing. Yeah. Americans are always like, I can't believe you eat pies with meat. I'm like, there's no meat. And they actually don't call them mincemeat pies. They call them mince pies, but mincemeat is what you put in it.
I had no idea.
I know, guys. These are things we talk about with my British friends, and they think we're super weird for. Okay. All right. So now the next topic we're going to talk about is pet peeves when you travel.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got them, and certain things will set certain people off. Like, for example, if I'm sitting on a train next to someone and they're eating crisps, I want to punch them in the face.
Yeah, me too.
Or like any fast food before like 9 a.m. If you do that, I think there's a certain special place for you in the afterlife.
They unwrap like a tuna sandwich.
Or like a Whopper. It's so gross.
French fries and a greasy hand all over
I'm like,
everything.
what are you eating? And how is that even open this day? Anyway. It's fine. I'm sure they were just really hungry or had just like worked a double shift at the hospital serving people, and I should be generous, but
still it's gross.
But it's still gross.
We just have to say.
Yeah, like pack a Luna bar. Yeah. Okay, so Annie, what are some of your travel packs?
So I'm a Leo, so I'm kind of obsessed with like my hair, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not that I like have great hair, but just like I feel better if it looks nice.
Yeah.
So there's hair dryers like I've been lucky enough to like stay at a lot of 5-star hotels for my job, right? I know that sounds ridiculous and like
that's just her life, people, and we get to know about these things because of this vlog, I guess.
But anyway, so many of them have hair dryers that you have to press to like hold it to keep it working.
What is it, like a fire hazard, or like what's the point of that?
I don't know what it is, but like I've been at these hotels that are charging insane amounts of money and you're like sitting there like with holding the button trying to make your hair dry.
So stupid.
So
yeah, I don't like
love
that
a good
either.
hair dryer.
That's good. I like that. What about the actual travel experience? Do you get to travel first class everywhere you go?
Sometimes. It's so funny because on this trip to Morocco this week, I checked in economy and I was like, do you have any last minute upgrades? And she's like, ma'am, do you know you're already in business class? Like I had no idea. Like, so it was really, that was like a cool moment. That does not happen all the time. Usually I'm stuffed in the back.
One time me and Tyler got upgraded and it was his first time in business class, and he, after like the first 6 hours, looked at me and said, we are never flying coach again. And I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about, because these tickets are like $2,000 a piece.
I know. I always say if I become like really rich, that's like
that's like your
one.
splurge.
Yeah.
Mine's
help dogs.
Mine's gonna be, did you ever watch Escape Twitch Mountain and they had the ice cream sundae bar in their bedroom? That's mine.
But that's
it always
something
it's like
I
a 60s thing. Anyways, that's mine. Okay.
I also hate when you're at the airport and there's no jetway, when you have to take the bus.
Oh, or the stairs up and it's raining.
Yes, exactly.
That's so European and annoying.
And you just feel like a cattle, you know? Kind of like
and you have to walk within the lines outside.
Yes.
So like I got reprimanded in Dublin the other week because I veered off the little white chalk because it's like there's cars moving out there.
Lauren's a rule breaker. She colors outside the lines.
I'm a Leo too, and we do what we want. So. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take you up here to this cute spot that me and Tyler found out the sex of our babies at. It's a sweet little
spot. I saw that vlog.
Yeah, that's actually, click down below. You can find the Aspiring Kennedy, Sexes video, I think is what it's called.
Yes,
anyways,
you bought books for them.
That's right. That's right. So anyways, it's up here. I'll take you over here. Pictures over here announcing Harrison's gender. Man, this used to be our backyard, so it sounds special, but it was actually just the easiest place to go. Okay. So I have a question. Like, you're a relatively nice person. How do you honestly feel when you sit down on a plane and you see a family walk in with kids?
If it was you, I'd be super excited.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Otherwise,
I would be too. It's kind of like, like, what is it about having kids around you that stresses you out the most? As a parent, I like to know how to not make people cringe.
I mean, it's the crying, which you can't help, right? I mean, it's not an overnight flight and you're like...
My kids don't cry a ton.
No, your kids are amazing. I met Edie today.
She's super
best
cute.
Baby ever.
I know. Harrison is, he walks a lonely road of whatever he wants to do. So he's like a bit of a wild card, but
Harrison's gonna rule the world.
Harrison will. Harrison, yes. So last week I was on a flight back from Dublin and Edie was bawling, and I had upgraded to first class because it was like a short flight, and I was like mortified because you never want to be that person that like ruins people. And I have to say, and I think you'd actually be the same way, even though you'd inside be dying and want to read. I had like 4 people around me that were so nice. The guy next to me, because they had like the fake seat in between us, was like, can I help you take your coat off, when I was like trying to sit down holding her. The lady behind me was like, you're doing awesome, she's so good, even though she was not good. And I just thought, this is such a kind gift, and I was so grateful. And I think you'd actually be like that, even though...
I kind of am, and I think that's the lesson, right? I mean, empathy is always the answer. Like, I always say to have empathy is like the biggest characteristic that I want to give my future children, and I think that's it, right? You just have to be empathetic to these people.
I'm always like, I promise it sucks for me too. I don't enjoy this.
Exactly.
It's not me versus you, it's like them versus us. Like, we all want silence and a nice
experience. There's so much schlepping, right? I mean, you're just schlepping so much stuff.
I know, like, okay, so how quickly could you get out of the house if someone called you and said, hey, I need you to get to Spain for an assignment?
I have a pre-packed toiletries bag.
Oh my goodness.
And that's the hardest part for me. So I think
you like 10 minutes. You could probably get the door.
10 minutes.
Oh my goodness. No, I would need at least 3 hours. 4.
3 hours.
If Tyler was home, because he'd have to go down to the basement to get out the suitcases.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, we are pretty rogue parents. Like, we don't even travel with car seats or anything, mostly.
Really?
Yeah.
You just get those where? I mean, how does that work?
Well, a lot of times we'll Amazon Prime them to our hotel because you can get like cheap ones.
That is a fantastic tip for families.
I know. I'm like, you can get one, because if you rent one with Hertz, it's like 15 pounds a day, but I can order one for like 40, and so it's like cheaper.
That's amazing.
And you don't have to get it through the airport. So that's a big tip we do. The other thing we do is do diapers. If we're going to be there for longer than a week, I just Amazon Prime everything and have it to arrive at the hotel that day.
I've never heard that before in any article I've read about family travel. Now, do you board separately? Do you wait? Like, that's the big
tip. It depends on like, yeah, so it depends on what our seat situation is, because like we try to get the bulkhead, and so if we do that, I like put a blanket down, I bring Legos in my bag, I like make it a play center, and I just let them do that, and I lock them in as soon as I can. But it totally depends on the time of day, because a lot of people rush on board, and I think, what the heck, why would you try to get on an hour earlier just to have them like extend your clock that much longer?
Right.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Okay, let's see. When you first get to a hotel room, what's the first thing you do?
If the TV's on, I turn it off. You know, when you walk in and sometimes
they've got like the preview,
or the like the terrible music is playing. I turn that off. Then I take anything off the bed that isn't like just the sheets. Like I live in fear of bed bugs. Never have.
Oh, like those gross things at the end of your feet. They're like, what are those?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to share those with like my family. Like, I don't want to share them with strangers. What do you do?
I take all the glass. Well, if I'm by myself, I check out the toiletries, because I always like to, like, if it's Bulgari, I need to know if they have the white tea like shower gel, because I hoard it, so I need to know that so that I can watch for the maid cards.
Bulgari, if you're listening.
That's right. I'm your girl.
White tea.
It's Tyler's Christmas. It's his stocking stuffer every year. And then if it's with the kids, I take all like the glasses and barware and hide it in the closet, because that's like the first thing they want to break and bang.
I can just see Harrison like hurling.
Yeah,
like,
he's like he's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I make sure the windows are closed, because that's the other thing they're gonna do. But yeah, and then I just like to lay on the bed and test it out a little bit.
Yeah. You know Samantha Brown, like her old, that's, you know, when she did her great hotel show, she would come in and she would jump on the bed.
I mean,
so that's like what,
that's the whole fun of like going to hotels. You get to stay in this beautiful bed that's made for you, and it's got, if it's my favorite, it's have big fluffy white linens, and only you don't have to make it, and it'll be ready for you with chocolate on it at bedtime if it's a nice hotel.
Do you like having housekeeping every day?
Yeah, for sure. Tyler always puts the do not disturb, and I really want to slap him for it, because I'm like, that's the perk.
Yeah.
They clean your crap for you.
Yeah. It makes you, stuff everywhere they come in, you're like, oh,
it's tidy again. I know. It's good.
So where was the spot where you did?
I was just thinking, I think it was like, it must have been like right here or something. And there were leaves everywhere. So yeah, we found out that we were having girls here, and it's super cute. We made it through Kensington Palace, and here we are now at Candela, which is a really sweet little tea room from around the corner where we used to live. So we get finished up here.
Yeah,
it's not a bad place.
Okay. There's scones coming.
And they're baking them, and we can smell them.
What about, tell me if someone comes to London and they have time for one item of food.
Okay, so lately I've been like really passionate about the Sunday roast, because nobody goes to the pubs on Sundays for roast, but they should, because if you want to be British, like this is all cute and stuff, but nobody's really going out for scones and tea unless you're a tourist. But a Sunday roast is actually what English people would do like every week. Yeah. And it's good. It's so good. And it's like an all-day event, really. Like you go for several hours, people will have drinks, they stay. It's a legit thing. Yeah. You go to like a neighborhood.
It's a giant hunk of meat.
It's like potatoes, roast, all the vegetables, gravy. Yeah, it's really good.
So
no, giant Yorkshire pudding.
Layer of,
I mean, I keep that year round, so I don't know what you're talking about.
And I don't know if you have a jet lag trip, but I have traveled like to Asia and all over, and it kills me. And the one thing I found that works is
sorry, scone intermission.
Here they are. Thank you. The one thing I found that works is to get in the shower, turn it as cold as it can go, like freezing, like Arctic temperatures, and get under that thing for 5 seconds. It resets your body clock. My friend Whitney Wolf told me this. Thank you, Whitney. And it really works. And then turn it to warm.
Do you know what Jane Goodall, I read this week, what her tip is?
No.
For jet lag? She doesn't acknowledge it.
She doesn't.
She doesn't acknowledge it. That's hardcore. She's 83. She's hardcore.
Are you a good packer? Yeah.
No, I'm terrible. I should
Plus
be
you're
good.
packing for kids.
If I did myself, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I can keep it lean.
Yeah.
But not very good. Are you good packing? You said you can like.
I'm better now. The biggest thing I do is the packets, like the.
I've heard the cubes. No, I don't do that. But I've heard they're good.
I avoided it for a while because when everyone tells you to do something, I kind of like to not do it.
You're like, I can do it without it.
Yeah. But it really works.
Go figure. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks for joining me on Let's Go for a Walk. And we're going to wrap up here where we're not walking, but that's all right. The tea's nice, so.
Cheers. Love you, Lauren.
Cheers. Because I'm the prettiest.
Yeah, exactly. I know.